Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer from Sports Radio 1250 WSSP in Milwaukee. He, of course, Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times. Time to talk a little Packer football as we get ready for the Packers and the Detroit Lions coming up this week at Lambeau Field. The Lions haven't won there since 1991. Is that right? That can't be right. It cannot have been that long.
Are you having a hangover from your
Can't be
drive to
that long.
Nashville? I mean, are you still, feeling the effects of Nashville?
I'm telling you, this Green Bay Packers team is as close to a must-win situation as you're going to find coming into this week.
Must win?
As close as you're going to find.
Oh, man.
To a
We're talking about
situation.
the NFC North Division where there isn't a good team. You know, there's... Okay, I'll go back. Detroit's a good team, but not a great team. You think the Bears are any good? You think the Vikings are any good?
I think the Bears could be decent. But again, the Bears, it comes down to Jay Cutler like it does every year for the Bears. I mean,
and the odds are it's not going to be very good.
And he cost them again last week. So, yeah, that's what it comes down to there. And for the Detroit Lions, it comes down to discipline and playing the game the right way. And as long as Jim Schwartz is the coach, I don't think they can do that either. So I think that eliminates the Lions. And the Minnesota Vikings should be on the phone right now with Tampa Bay, offering them a 7th-round pick, whatever it is, to get Josh Freeman and bring him in. He can't be any worse than Ponder. And Matt Castle...
The question is, he's not any better, though.
No, but the question is he better than Castle or Ponder?
No.
Because clearly Matt Castle looked decent last week.
Yeah.
Now, we'll see what Matt Castle looks like this week. But, yeah, overall, this division is up for grabs. This Green Bay Packers team isn't anything to write home about right now either.
Trivia question. Name the quarterback who has thrown for the most yards after 50 games. I saw this on TV last week. I was astounded. Not surprised, not shocked. Astounded.
After his first 50 games of his career?
Yeah, right.
Peyton Manning.
Nope. That's what I thought. I thought Manning for sure. Maybe
Marino.
It was Breeze, but he got surpassed by current quarterback of the NFC North.
Who?
Matthew Stafford.
Oh.
Isn't that unbelievable?
I wouldn't have believed that, no.
No, it was shocking. So,
But by the time Stafford got to 50, he was probably 4 years into his career as much as he's hurt. Okay, talk about this Lions-Packers matchup coming up this week. Morgan Burnett comes back for the Green Bay Packers. I think that helps the secondary quite a bit. Just getting guys
without his dreads, by the way.
Well,
do you think that's going to have an impact?
I could care less about that story.
I agree.
So Morgan Burnett comes back. That obviously is going to help the secondary, I think. And they're going to need it because Calvin Johnson has ate the Packers secondary up for the last 2-3 years when he's played them. I'm not quite sure Sam Shields or Tremont Williams is going to provide much of a test for Calvin Johnson. The key in this game, in my opinion, like it is most weeks, is get to the quarterback and pound the quarterback into the turf if you can. And if you can't get to Stafford, they're going to have a field day because Reggie Bush has provided another element to this Lions offense that we haven't seen.
He's going to be a handful for the Packers. I saw him last week, and he was tremendous. I mean, he made one touchdown run. That was like, a highlight film. He adds so much to that offense. It's ridiculous because now teams obviously still got to worry about Megatron. But with Reggie Bush coming out of the backfield, man, that puts a lot of pressure on your linebackers and safeties.
And it also allows Brandon Pettigrew really to stretch the middle of the field and take advantage of Pettigrew down the middle of the field. The Packers have struggled against tight ends and not covering running backs out of the backfield in years past. They're going to, I would imagine, struggle a little bit against Calvin Johnson. Having said all of that, the Packers on the other side
must
of the ball,
win, though, huh?
I think it's about as close as it's going to get to a must-win, yeah, for the Packers.
Yeah,
you're coming off a bye week, Gary. So this is about as healthy as you've been all year long. You're not going to get another bye week later to try and regather your thoughts. You want to get some momentum coming out of this bye week going forward.
No question.
It's a division game that you want to win. Now, I'm not saying season's over, they're not going to the playoffs if they lose the game, but I think there has to be some pressure right now internally with this Packers team to come out and show everybody that they are the team everybody thought. And on the offensive side of the football, they must continue to run the football. You've had back-to-back weeks now with 100-yard rushers. One Starks, one Jonathan Franklin. Starks, they're not saying he's done for the year, but he may be. I mean, you never know with Jim Starks.
Right, exactly.
Franklin's dinged up. Eddie Lacy is coming back. You want to see them run the ball effectively again. Right now, they're in the top 10 in rushing the football in yards per game. They're like 9th. They're second in the NFL right now in yards per carry in the NFL.
Yeah,
only behind the Philadelphia
which
Eagles.
is also astounding.
Right, they're averaging over 5 yards a carry.
Right.
And they need to run the football because if they don't establish the run, they're going to have problems protecting Aaron Rodgers with that front seven of the Detroit Lions.
Oh, I agree with all your points. My big concern from a Packers standpoint is Clay Matthews. Is Clay Matthews going to be healthy? If he's not healthy, they're in trouble. There's no doubt about it. Teams are going to run up points on them. Yeah, the Packers are going to score points, but so is the opposition.
Sure.
And when you have a team as potent as the Lions, they can score points real fast.
Now, you're right about that. The other thing, too, about this game coming in is who's going to return kicks. I mean, who's going to return kicks? Who's going to return punts? You cut Jeremy Ross.
Do you remember Travis Williams?
Yeah.
He was the most incredible kickoff returner ever. But go ahead. Packer. I haven't seen a guy on the Packers that confident since then.
Desmond Howard's pretty good.
He wasn't, trust me, every time Travis Williams touched the ball, he thought he was going to take it to the house. Even though the odds weren't.
Sure.
You just had that feeling he could take it to the house.
All right, so
But anyways.
the punt return and kick return game is up for debate right now. You cut Ross, he's out the door.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're trying out different people at the kickoff and punt return job. I think you'd like to have Jonathan Franklin back there on kickoffs if possible.
That would be ideal.
He has struggled in the past trying to do this. Punts, you'd like anybody other than Randall Cobb, in my opinion. Now, do you realize, because you're Mr. Stat Guy,
I am.
that kickoff returns this year, the Denver Broncos lead the NFL in kickoff returns.
Do they really?
Averaging about 36.8 yards per kick return. Okay?
Hesper's got to be right up there.
Holiday for the Broncos.
Yeah, right. But Hesper's got to be pretty close, too.
Bears are in the top 10, I think. Somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
Broncos like 36.8. Just giving you this as a number.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Packers, what, 15 yards a return?
Less.
There you go.
12 yards, 12.1, dead last in the NFL.
Yeah.
The next team, the 31st team, is the New York Jets at almost 17 yards.
There
They're
you
like
go.
5 yards per kick return behind the 31st team in the NFL. On punt returns, the Packers are middle of the pack, right around middle of the pack, maybe upper echelon, at 12 yards a punt return. They're averaging as many yards on punt returns as they are on kickoff returns. And you should have a much higher number on kickoff returns.
I
Which
agree.
now leads to the question of, is it time to put Randall Cobb back there? I don't want to risk him due to injury. And I will not do it. I'll figure something else out, but I'm not playing Randall Cobb back there.
Yeah, you know what? That's been one of my criticisms with Ted Thompson. One, finding a great returner, punt, kick returner.
Well, Cobb was that guy, but now he ended up in the offense.
Yeah, but I mean, you knew that coming into the season. Why didn't you address it during the
Right.
offseason? I mean, don't wait for it to happen.
I agree.
Okay, and number two, we were talking about Reggie Bush. The Packers have never had a back out of the backfield that can really make things happen. Like Sproles, for
Right.
instance. Do you see Sproles the other night?
Yep.
I mean, the guy's only, 5'3"?
Yep.
I mean, he just makes things happen. The Packers refuse to get a player like that, somebody that can, make things happen.
Well, and right now they need to figure out what they're going to do back there. The question is, though, would you put Randall Cobb back at kick and punt returns
I would.
to improve that side of the game?
I would.
Even though if he gets
I-
hurt, your offense is in trouble.
Yeah, you know what? It's weird. I'm always paranoid about players getting hurt, and I always think of Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't been hurt.
Right.
There you go.
Well, the concussion. Other
You
than
know,
that.
and you think, okay, he's going to get hurt. Well, he's played. How often do you really see a kick returner get hurt, though? How many times? The great ones have really stood
You
the test
just
of time.
jinxed the hell out of that, didn't you?
No,
That's
yeah, you know what?
good.
Though? The Packers are not going to put Randall Cobb back there
I don't know.
because they're paranoid of him getting hurt
Right,
as well.
and I wouldn't put him back there, but
but-
everybody else tells me they should put him back there. Gary Ellerson says it, Leroy
See,
Butler
I
says
agree,
it.
I
You
agree.
say it, everybody says it. I'm on my island here not wanting to do it.
Yeah, and I can see why you're on that island. I mean, he's a very important piece to the offense. But at the same time, so are special teams.
Sure.
And, I mean, you get good field position. Instead of starting out, like you said, at the 12-yard line, start out at the 28 or 30, it's just...
But again, that's
changes the
deceiving,
complexion.
though, because if you catch the ball at the 5 and go 12 yards, you're at the 17. You catch, it all
right,
depends
sure,
on
yeah,
where you
right,
catch it.
right.
It's not saying they're starting at the 12-yard line.
But they're all kicking it into the end zone.
Absolutely,
now.
for the most part.
I mean,
Right.
it's funny, the evolution of kickoffs. It used to be you would try to put it down around the 5 or inside the 5 along the sideline and let your defenders go down, and try to pin them inside the 20. Now it's just like kick it out of the end zone.
Right.
Who cares? Let them start at the 20.
It's all about safety and trying to avoid the concussion, because I think a lot of
Absolutely.
that stuff happens on kickoff.
But it was constantly try to kick it within the 5-yard line to the side of the field.
Wow, that's unbelievable. So your pick for this week, Packers and Lions.
Packers. grudgingly, because I think Detroit's good. I was never, ever a big fan of Detroit until last Sunday.
Grudgingly, meaning you don't want to pick the Packers?
Maybe a better word would be reluctantly, because I think Detroit's got a really good team now. I think they're coming together. Bush has made such a difference for them.
I think Detroit would be much better if they had a real head coach. I think Jim Schwartz really just screws up that whole thing. If they had a Bill Cowher or somebody that installs discipline and doesn't put up with the crap of Sue and these other guys, I would feel much better about the situation. But as long as defense is there, I'm not going to have any.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the offense real quickly. Their defense line is as good as it gets.
Right.
I mean, those guys are really talented. So we'll see.
He is Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times. I'm Steve Sparky Fifer. I'm taking the Packers as well over the Detroit Lions this
Reluctantly?
weekend at Lambeau Field. I think it's going to be a shootout.
Okay.
So we'll see if I'm right on that or not. We'll talk to you again next week right here on Sports Junkies at RacineSportsZone.com.